Today I'm going to be watching this video. It's called Culture Shocks from Living in Sweden, and this is specifically Stockholm. So interested to know if these are culture shocks that are only applicable to Stockholm, whether they apply to every part of Sweden. I guess things would be, there could be culture shocks that vary depending on where you go in a country. I'm a foreigner. I live in Malaysia. I've experienced a lot of culture shocks. I've said that on videos before, so I'd like to see people's experiences, see what they think about going to another country to live and what shocks them. I definitely think there's regional variances, but interested to see Stockholm specifically. Tell me what you think about this.
Comfortable, but what is life without a little bit excitement? Everybody was looking at me like something was wrong.
If you want to be generous and say, okay, I pay that one, you are broken, for 2 months you cannot go out anymore.
You might get some sun, oh, it's gone.
Hello everyone and welcome to the newest video. Today's video is about a country that I love focusing on so much on this channel, and it's Sweden. Now, last time I was in Sweden, I didn't get a chance to talk to any foreigners about their experiences, which is why we decided to make a new video featuring Sweden in the winter. I've got my host Ana Luisa. She's a Brazilian who moved to Sweden to be with her Swedish boyfriend. So she's a foreigner interviewing foreigners, which I think makes it even better. Hope you guys enjoy this. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below, and let's get on with the video.
Tell me your name, where you're from, and how long you've been to Sweden.
Hi, my name is Navna. I'm from South Africa.
My name is Megan. I'm from Minnesota in the
I've seen
United
her videos
States.
before
My name is
actually.
Diana. I'm from Brazil.
My name is Rafael and I come from Italy.
So I'm Maya. I'm from Poland.
I'm Elina, and I come from Greece.
I'm Alex, I also come from Greece.
I'm Nikki, and I'm originally from Canada.
I've been in Sweden for about 5 years.
I've been here just over a year.
For about 4.5 years.
Almost 5 years.
100% living here, two years.
I have been here for 6 years now.
And quite similar for me.
I lived in Sweden for 8 years.
What was your biggest culture shock right when you arrived Sweden?
The approach of people to basically everything.
I guess how quiet people were. No one says how are you in the stores or anything. So that was kind of a big culture shock for me, because people in Canada, it's like, how are you? It's like, I know, it's like, do they care about how I am? It's like, no.
Compared to Brazilians, Swedes are really like set back, which is respectful, but it's also hard to get to know them in a deep way.
When I came in the first time, I was in the metro station and everybody was so silent. Nobody was speaking, and I was like, okay, what is going on? Is there something wrong? And then when I was speaking, and I was speaking loud and a lot, I'm Greek, it was like everybody was looking at me like something was wrong. After 6 years, I can say I have calmed down quite a lot to fit in.
The way.
Yeah, that one is like I said on a previous video when I heard about this similar culture shock being brought up about Sweden is, yeah, there's just certain countries that are like that. I went to Japan recently. I went to Korea last year. When I went on a train there, it's just complete silence. When I went to some restaurants, complete silence. I would imagine probably even quieter than Sweden. And it can be quite strange coming from Malaysia, which you go places, there's just noise everywhere, non-stop, all day, all night, no matter where you are. It was like a real culture shock, and in a way, when you get used to it, it's nice. You just go there and it's peaceful. I don't mind it so much. Is that always the case, do you think? I would have thought maybe Stockholm might have a bit more noise, or be a bit more noisy than maybe the more rural parts of Sweden. But if you go on public transport in Sweden, for instance, is it just very quiet in your opinion?
Not to fit in.
The way that people have trust for others. They leave their babies outside on the pavement. The other day I was walking through town and I just saw a baby pram. And I thought, oh my gosh. That was like a complete foreign concept to me.
For me, I would say it's like how different people are when they drink versus at night versus when you meet them during the day. Like there was a colleague of mine, I thought she was a bit cold to me. I thought, "Yeah, why?" But then during the night, she was drunk, and then she was like hugging, like, "Alex, it's so nice to have you here." And that was quite shock for me, because in Greece or in Spain, where I have lived, or in Brazil, we are kind of similar during the daytime and night.
Yeah, they switch personalities when they start drinking.
I confirm that.
Yeah, and the next day they pretend nothing happened.
Yeah.
Exactly, and I feel so betrayed
true?
sometimes. Okay, what happened? We had a good night.
Yeah,
Is that true? Have you been in that situation where you've been the drunk person or been the sober person, and it's like different dynamics in the day and night? I feel maybe that's similar to British people as well. Sometimes you can work with people, they can be quiet, then when you go to the pub, they drink, and then they become a bit of a different person. So I actually see similarities with the UK with
and
regards
also
to that.
another thing that I noticed that different from Southern Europe countries, that no one is never hanging on a balcony or from the window. Like in Italy, people really like to be curious and look around what's going on.
Yeah, when I first got to Sweden, I think one of the main culture shocks was probably customer service. On the one side, I actually like that Swedish customer service is more laid back. Like if you go to a grocery store, you're not about to have a full-length conversation with the cashier. Sometimes I do just want to get my stuff and go. But on the other side, when I've tried to make phone calls to get customer service help, suddenly I'm hoping for a little bit more customer service.
So I'm from Poland, and I think we are more like Balkan or Italian people. Like we're really close to our family. Like myself, I talk with my mom quite often, almost every day. We do a video call, and I think like in Sweden it's not that common. It's not like a must. You have to be friends with your family. It's okay to just stop contacting them, and no one will judge you for being black sheep of the family. I think that's maybe like connected with the really well like system, like welfare system. Like when you're old, you're not gonna be forgotten, and the government will take care of you.
Yeah, what do you think about that as well? Because again, like I said, I've lived in Asia for a long time, like 13 years. And the one thing that people always ask me, or they always tell me their opinion, people from Asia, is they think that Westerners are not very family oriented. They don't care about their family as much as Asian people and so on. And I don't really find that true in my experience. Obviously, I'm close with my family. All my friends and everything from back in Scotland, back in the UK are, yeah, they care about their family. They maybe are a bit more independent. They don't contact them every day, having to update them or find out what's going on. But it's like they'll still be in contact if they're not living near. But it's still very close. It's just a different type of closeness, I think. In Sweden, what do you think about that? Are you close with your family? Do you think family is very important? Again, I find it's just a misconception people in other parts of the world have about Europe. We don't care about our family, but I think we care a lot about our family. Yeah, maybe just a different way sometimes.
Are the things that you like the most about Sweden and things that you like the least?
So the best thing coming from a country that's messy, the system. Here things work. It's bureaucratic, takes time, a lot of time, but in the same way when you have things in order, things just work smoothly.
Quality of life, people are very nice, polite, there's a very high rate of education in people.
I feel safe. The streets are clean. The metro is on time. If you're late, you're gonna get like a message, or they're gonna say it's gonna be 2 minutes late. As a woman, alone, I'm not gonna be bothered, because even if I want to be bothered, they're not going to speak to me.
Even if you want people to bother you a bit more,
it's not going to happen.
I never imagined a country caring so much for its people. That was like the biggest what for me. I mean, 2 weeks in, I received a health check kit. You know, there's free education. There's the way that they do the public transport and the pavements for pedestrians, the free healthcare. Like that's, I find that mind-blowing.
People here enjoy nature. They go for walks. They really value like going to their summer houses during summer.
Just the feeling of the culture feels very lagom. You just feel like everything is very just like balanced. And coming from the US, everything is so extreme in all directions. And so I feel like you come here and you can relax a bit. I mean, it's not perfect, you know, the winters are cold and dark, and yet I still would, I feel much more like at peace here.
For me as a woman, the best thing about living in Sweden is equality. So I have really seen that in the workplace, in the society, and it has been a big difference from Greece actually. So I really, really enjoy that.
For me, I would say the best thing is how interesting Swedish people are. They are knowledgeable, they are interesting, it's just, it feels that they are better, if I would say. I take that back. But
You'll be cancelled.
Yeah.
What's something that you don't like so much about
Yeah, so that's all the good things. I mean, that's what you want out of a country, I think, to go and live somewhere where everything works, people are happy, people are nice and respectful. That balance is such an interesting way of putting it, yeah, where things are just like nice, it's not too extreme, whether it's anything, maybe the weather's the only thing that maybe is not balanced, but maybe during the year it does balance. But yeah, it's something, again, living in a place like Malaysia where things are so hectic and some things don't work, some things do, it's like can get a bit crazy, which can be interesting in itself. Like I enjoy that sometimes, but just having that balance is nice, being relaxing. And yeah, Sweden seems like a great place. Interested to know what the negatives are actually.
Sweden?
Wait a minute.
Yeah, get your list.
First thing is that actually restaurants close too early and clubs start too early and close too early. I don't like that.
People really keep to themselves.
Yeah, that one, it would be hard for me. Again, like living in Malaysia here, the malls, every shop's open till 10 p.m. A lot of restaurants are open just all the time. There's always something happening, so you can go out for dinner anytime, you can go out for coffee anytime, you can do anything. It's like just alive. And when you go back to Europe, I've never been to Sweden, but when I go back to like the UK, things close very early, things don't open some days and so on. So it's it can be a bit hard to get back and get used to that actually.
Early and close to early, I don't like that.
People really keep to themselves to the point where they won't even say excuse me. They will just try to sneak by you. They will like shimmy along the wall.
Yeah, Swedes hates to bother.
It's like, but all you have to say is like, oh, excuse me. And so that's a huge difference. In the States, we'll be like halfway down that, like away from them down the aisle, be like, oh, sorry, about to come through, you know.
Oh my God. It's sometimes I don't feel like culturally integrated and I feel different from most people. And I think that's the hard part. It's also like when you were trying to learn the language, people do speak English. And that's also very hard because if you're trying to learn Swedish, it's hard to learn the language because everybody wants to speak English.
I mean, to not mention the obvious, the warmth overall, the warmth of the weather, the warmth of people, spontaneity. When you have everything set up as people are used to have here and everything is a certain way and they live their whole life in this way, I understand that it's difficult to kind of do something different out of nowhere. Feel comfortable like this. But what is life without a little bit excitement? What is life without a little bit spontaneity?
You miss that.
I miss that. Just loosen up.
Sad part is that they are not so spontaneous. Then we need to plan ahead so much. Our life is mostly on the weekends, not during the week time. Whereas in Greece, I mean, you just go for a coffee after work so easily. And here it's just not so easy.
Every day I don't hear voices outside. When you go out to work or whatever you're doing, you don't hear people talking. They just like straight to work like this. And Friday night, from nowhere, I hear some laughs. It means it's after work, they're going out to drink and they're happy. I mean, in Brazil we also drink, have fun, but we don't have this necessity to like be just in the environment of having fun, to be in that energy of like laughing and make jokes and losing up. Yeah. We have fun every day.
The price, especially.
That's interesting, that one. I don't know if that's just like a case by case sort of basis, like maybe things like some work environments and so on might be more fun and interesting than others, I don't know, but also that you look at it the one way that when people go to work they just want to be productive, get the work done, they work their working hours and that's it. Like again, if I talk about Malaysia, like people here go for coffee, go for chats during office hours, and it means they end up working a lot of overtime and working past. That's expected a lot in a lot of Asian countries where they just get unpaid overtime, work long hours and things like that. Whereas me, I like to go in, work hard, leave as soon as the clock hits my contracted finish time, get out there, but get all my work done. I guess it's just a different mentality.
Price, especially like alcohol or getting a shot when you go out with your friends in the night. If you want to be like generous and say, okay, I pay that one, like, and you are 3 or 4 friends, like you are broken for 2 months, you cannot go out anymore.
I would say it's the weather for me, the darkness, not the cold. I really like the cold, but the darkness is really, really tough. The first year it was basically impossible to manage this like very long darkness.
I do come from Minnesota, and Minnesota is just as cold, if not colder, than Sweden. But the darkness, and I know that is a stereotype of Sweden, but it really did surprise me the first winter I stayed here. I thought I was so ready. No, the darkness is worse because it's not like you get 4, 5 hours of bright sunlight. You like might get some sun. Oh, it's gone. Like that's how it is here.
What's something that's
I mean, I guess being Swedish, you probably just grew up with that. You maybe don't think about it. I don't know. What do you think about that? Are the winters hard even for people who have lived there all their life? I can imagine it must be. Just having sunlight makes me happy. To not have it in days would be difficult. Tell me what you think about that.
at first you was a shock, but now you said I feel more Swedish. I like this.
I guess herring, pickled herring. That was really odd.
I arrived on cinnamon bun day. So my sister-in-law was like, come, let's go get cinnamon buns. And at first I was like, okay, but this is interesting. And then there was the semla bun day, and then there was the crayfish day, and then it was this and that and that. And now I'm seeing how the Swedes are taking these tiny little things and making something so cozy out of it.
Organized. They are so organized, and it's trustful because they are on time for everything, and this organization give you security, safety. So you know if they say like, oh, we're gonna meet there at this time, or something's gonna happen in some way, usually happens, which bring you some kind of sense of stability.
Yeah, and Brazilians are the opposite of that. Brazilians are more flaky. Like they say, oh, let's go. Yeah, next week let's meet and see, and nothing happens.
Never gonna see them.
And I think
never gonna happen.
yeah, and Swedes are like, oh, let's meet next week and have a dinner or something, and they actually mean it.
And they make an appointment, and you gotta be there 15 minutes early. Okay, not on the time they say 9, be 8:45.
Swedes never meet just to meet. There always needs to be something planned, like an activity, like a theme for the party. Like there needs to be something. In the beginning, I thought that was super weird. Like just meet, please. But now I think I enjoy it. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, we know what to do, and
Exactly.
yeah, planned fun is also fun.
I'm not used to plan like free time things, but actually it's good to do that.
Because now I tell him like, oh, in 2 weeks we're doing this, and he never writes anything down. And then when the day comes, I say like, oh, we meet there and there at that time, and he's like, what were you doing? And I was like, yeah, I told you a few weeks ago, you remember? No, that never happens. But he's learning.
How has living in Sweden changed you as a person?
People are on time. I'm not on time. I'm Brazilian. I'm 1 hour late. And I had to adapt to that, which I think it's great for me because it's me adapting for better.
The way of driving in Sweden is very respectful and slow driving. So I take that one back to me even when I go to another country.
I think I've gotten more quiet actually. Like I used to be very loud and very like outspoken and stuff. Now I'm more quiet because I feel like I can't be too loud because I'm scared of people like staring.
Especially being from the United States, we really are in our own bubble there. The country is huge, and we do have so many influential cultural things that export out of the US to the world, but not so many international things come into the US. And being in Sweden, it's always just such a refreshing view on just how to live my life, and kind of like I feel like I'm always humbled every day because as much as I've learned a lot of Swedish and I feel very confident, I'm not fluent. And so there's still times where I don't fully understand something, but that's kind of what makes it exciting.
You can't sit around and wait for things to happen. You have to go out and make the opportunities for yourself, make the friends. In the beginning, I was reluctant, but it's given me a lot more confidence, I guess, in myself. I feel a lot more capable as a person because I've had to do so many difficult things.
Do you feel more lonely here? Do you feel happier here than in Brazil? How do you feel about your home country?
Everything that should work works, but culture, I'm not from here, so I have really hard time to adapt. It's hard to like come to a country where everyone does the same or think the same to make them open up a little bit.
Do you miss your home country?
It's like a never-ending debate, internal debate. Should we go back? Is it better in Greece? Should we stay here? I think there is no clear winner.
Yeah.
If we go back, we will miss Sweden.
Yeah,
So
yeah. When I go to Greece, I find it now very loud and messy and unorganized. So actually, I miss Sweden when I'm there.
What advice?
That's interesting as well. It's like interesting to hear that again. Being like a foreigner myself, like I have that internal struggle as well. Especially got 2 young children. We're like planning our next phase of life for our children, going to school and things. And schooling here in Malaysia is something that's not great unless they go to private or international schools. So we're looking at other options, other countries. Sweden is one as well. Actually, that's one reason I have like this channel, to learn about countries where I can potentially move to. And yeah, it's like just one of these things you're always like considering what country's best, what is it, my home country, is it another country, is it where I'm living now? It's like, yeah, these things always like having to consider, like, but Sweden like does seem like an awesome place.
What advice would you give to someone that's moving to Sweden?
Personally, I would advise you to find like a circle of friends so you can start from that, because I know of people who live here many years, like myself. I have very few Swedish friends. It's really hard to connect with them, so you should find someone to connect to, because it's quite easily gonna happen that you're gonna isolate yourself. You know, maybe if you come for work, you're gonna go to work, come back home, and you don't have a social environment.
I would say come to Sweden if you're prepared for a calmer life. Like perhaps don't come here if you want to have like the Barcelona life. But if you want to settle down with your family or like have a more quiet life, this is the place to be, I believe.
Don't move here directly after your studies, for example, when you have no work experience, because it will be super hard to find a job.
First, have things settled, bureaucratic-wise, everything you have to do with the documents. Have that in mind on paper, because it takes time. Everything here takes time. If you apply for everything, it's going to take 1, 2, 3 months.
What you'll learn is that you do need a personal number, and that is hard to get.
Don't expect life to be the same as it was back home, or even greener. You know how they say the grass is greener on the other side. It's only greener if you water it. It's such a cliche. It's only greener if you water it and if you make it. So you have to put in the work.
That makes sense. That's good advice. But yeah, great video. Yeah, like again, as someone who has lived in another country for a long time, considering other countries to move to, I just like to see these videos and see what people think. And like, yeah, it's interesting to see like whether people in Sweden, what you think about these opinions, if you get to hear people like this speak about the issues they have, the things they like about the country and so on. Just interested to know what you think about them. Anything raised there, please let me know in the comments. Thanks.